I have a great interview for you today with Deberah Haferkamp, who's the president of the board of the Gateway Festival Orchestra of St. Louis. Good morning, Deberah.
Good morning. Hi.
And I know you mostly go by Debbie, so I'm going to call you Debbie. And then we have two maestri who are with us today. Leon Burke III, who's guest conducting the July 10th and July 17th concerts. Good morning, Leon.
Well, good morning, Kathy.
And then we have Maestro Darwin Aquino, who's going to be conducting the 24th and the 31st of July. Hello, Darwin.
Hello, Kathy. Always a pleasure to talk to you and to be here. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you too. This is just great fun. Now, even though today is the first day that Debbie and I have met, I know you two gentlemen have known you for a little while. Debbie, this is great to have you with us. The Gateway Festival Orchestra has been around since 1964, and I remember going to some of those concerts in the 60s. The Summer Orchestra Series, and its home has been the WashU Quadrangle forever. As president of the board, what would you like the audience to know about Gateway Festival Orchestra?
Well, it does have a very rich history, and we started out under the arch in the Mississippi River. And when I first got into the music business, I played a concert on the barge. And it was quite exciting. And I didn't think too much of it because I was young enough to go, gee, this is so cool, except there was a dead body floating along the barge. And that's when we decided we had to go to WashU. And I was like, is this a problem? That was my attitude back then. But we went to WashU, and frankly, it's been wonderful at WashU. At the Quadrangle, those outdoor concerts give children a chance to be there. Adults, you know, they bring their picnic baskets and all of that. However, over COVID, we had to move venues, and it was a big issue. We encountered things we had never known about before, frankly. We went to the Music Park in Maryland Heights, and that is a wonderful venue. We weren't able to work any concerts out this year, but I'm glad to know that there's some new venues in town as possibilities. But being part of WashU's concert series, we're really not part of the university, but I think they did value us being there. And now that we're back, a lot of people are very happy. A lot of our patrons are saying, oh, we're so excited about being back at WashU. Yeah. And with the 560 building, the older patrons can come, and it's easy access, it's air conditioned. So there's some value in either end of it. Young families in the Quadrangle work great, and people who have mobility issues can get right into 560 and enjoy concerts.
That's a great point. And then too, with those who have younger ones, they can always picnic there outside the 560, because I've seen people do that on a number of occasions. I did not know about the dead body. What year did that happen?
It was in the late 60s. I don't know. Time just kind of meshes together after a while, but
yeah. Somewhere in the late 60s or maybe early 70s, I had seen you at Washington University on several occasions. So, wow, that's pretty hooky. That's not the reason you want to change venues now, is it? Holy smokes.
It's a good excuse, I guess, you know?
Yeah. This season is going to be kind of in two halves, if you will. So I think what we'll do is turn to Leon first, because he's conducting the first two concerts, and those two are going to be at Washington University Quadrangle. Let's start with your concerts. Leon, give us a rundown, if you would.
Well, first, I'll tell you, it's such an honor to be asked to guest conduct, because the last time I was on that stage at the WashU Quadrangle, I was the piano soloist and chorus master for Beethoven's Choral Fantasy under Willie Schatzkammer.
Oh my, one of the founders.
Oh, yes, the founder. He was my first conducting teacher, by the way. So it's just such an honor to be back. So it might explain a little bit. My first concert is that I'm contrasting the new and the old in different ways.
Nice.
I'm beginning with the Meistersinger Prelude by Wagner, which is all about a young man who doesn't understand how music is supposed to work when he has a beautiful voice and a compositional voice, because it's of love. And the old fuddy-duddies are sitting there going, nah, you're breaking the rules, you're breaking the rules. And Hans Sachs sees the beauty in the undisciplined young man, and he finds a way to merge the two traditions. So that's kind of the programming for the rest of the concert. We have Prokofiev's Classical Symphony, where Prokofiev imagines what would Mozart do if he was writing today. So that has to be included. And something that's really fun for audiences that I don't think they know very well is the Pulcinella Suite by Stravinsky, with most of the movements based on songs that were written in the ancient Italian style, and Stravinsky gives his little kick to it. And it ends with just one of the most brilliant trumpet passages ever and some very raucous trombones. But I have to tell you that our special guests are the offspring of one of the founding members of that orchestra. Debbie, I think you might remember Robert Silverman. I used to call him Mr. Silverman, and his son I call Rob. But they are well-known jazz musicians all over town, and they have a special group called Bach to the Future, where the boys reimagine classical music through the eyes of jazz popular music. It's going to be a really wild time. They're going to do that Hungarian Rhapsody. Most people who will attend will see Bugs Bunny or Tom and Jerry playing the piano. It'll be very cool. They have a great parody of Star Wars. It's like Don Williams meets Freddie Hubbard. It's wild. And Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring, my personal favorite, and Flight of the Bumblebee. And
love it.
Oh, yeah. And Flight of the Bumblebee starts with a little nod opening to the People's Court. It's hilarious.
Mike and Rob are so creative and so much fun, marvelous entertainers.
Indeed.
And sensitive to the audience. So if the audience gets a kick out of something, they'll play toward that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd have to tell you, I once turned around and said, Mike, introduce the band, will you? And he turned around to the band and started introducing each member of the band to each other. Yeah, you know, it always gets a laugh. Always.
Yeah. Now, the coincidence of all of this is the entire program is named Bach to the Future, just like their group. That sounds like a really nice juxtaposition of both the old and the new.
It is. And I think we're just a tad short. So I'm going to tease the next concert by doing an impromptu performance of the Moldau. We just came up with that. We'll tease that because our next concert I call A River Runs Through It. Each of the selections is connected with one river or another.
Can you give the audience sort of a little oversight on this? This is going to be on the 17th of July.
Yes. If I ask you what piece of music means river to you, I think most people first thought would be Blue Danube. So we can't get around it. If you don't play the Blue Danube, you weren't there. Okay. So since we live next to the Mississippi, there's the Mississippi Suite by Ferde Grosse. And I'm keeping on the local item by having a new piece called River Cathedral by local musician Mary Sweeten. She's been the concert master of the University City Symphony for quite a while, although she's no longer. And she is the orchestra director at the St. Charles County Community College. She has one, River Cathedral. The first time she played it for me, I said, oh, this is a good piece. Mary, I didn't know you were such a talented composer. So it turns out River Cathedral describes a float trip down a river in Texas.
Wow.
It's incredible. Actually, Mary has slides of the whole trip, and I wish we had a way to project slides or at least the annotations in the score. Here we come to the rapids, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. Now, will this be the premiere of this?
No, it has been already premiered. I'm sorry to say the U City Symphony did not give its first public performance, but we tried to. But you know, we have one of the most memorable riverboats coming along, Showboat.
Yes.
I'm a bass singer, so I love to sing Old Man River, so I thought about it immediately. And I was able to get a good friend who sings concerts. He's sung with Opera Theater St. Louis, Brent Stater.
Yes.
He's a fabulous bass. There are very few basses I would do this for, you know, and give up
Singing it yourself.
Solo opportunity. But I also have Schumann's Symphony No. 3, and they call it the Rhenish because the Rhine River flows through all of the movements, and each one is a scene along the Rhine. Each movement is based on a different scene. So the river definitely runs through it. Only
Indeed.
thing it doesn't run through is Mary So, our brilliant young violinist, Mary So. She's going to do one of those rarely heard Sarasate treats, the introduction and tarantella. So I'm looking forward to that.
Now, Mary is one of the Gateway Festival Orchestra's young artists, correct?
Yes, she is. I don't know if you know this, but she's won like almost every young artist competition around town. She played the, help me out, Debbie. What was she playing? Lalo.
Lalo.
Oh, Espanol?
The
Symphony
Symphony
Espanol?
Espanol. And everyone who heard it was just blown away. They truly were.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have her playing a short bonbon, as we say.
We should probably take a moment and talk about that William Schatzkammer Young Artists Fund and also the Young Artist Award. Could you give us some insight on that?
Yes, I would like to mention something about this. First of all, I had known Willie for a very long time. You know, he gave me my first opportunity to be a professional musician, but he was intensely interested in promoting young artists and giving young people opportunities to be professionals. That's how the door was open for me. And I frankly am grateful to him. So we decided to start a fund, a specific fund that we call the Young Artist Fund. And we have continued for every summer series to make sure that we have some young artists. And they do get a stipend so that it's worth their while. But we think that's part of the deal. If they recognize that we value what they're doing, and we do, we definitely do. And I know Mary So is a fabulous player, one of Joe Kaminsky's prize students. She's wonderful.
Joe Kaminsky.
So yes, he produces a lot of them. He's very
Yes,
good.
he does. He's a superlative
And,
teacher.
Yes, he really is. I foresee people like her going on, and all those things that you can put in your resume are important for kids. They really are. So we're going to be grateful to have her, and there's a couple others too. We do hope that people donate to that fund specifically. We allow them to give because there's other people that care about young artists too.
Debbie, how would they do that?
Well, we have donations on our website, a donation button. And we always encourage people to go to the website and donate, obviously. When we first started the Gateway Festival Orchestra, we weren't allowed to solicit donations because it was part of the Music Performance Trust Fund. Over the years, that had to change, you know, and now we do rely on patrons, donors. St. Louis is a very giving place, and they do appreciate the kind of work we do. Our mission is all about free public concerts, and we want to make sure anybody gets a chance to experience good music. And if you don't mind, for 1 second, I'm going to talk about, we've had an outreach string quartet. I wrote a program a while ago called Developing the Active Listener. It is designed to reach the underserved community. I'm an educator. It's been my life's work. And I really thought, how do you get kids to get excited about great music? So I wrote a program that basically would go in and we play a little and we talk a little, but I compare music to football. And I say, basically, football isn't very interesting if you don't know anything about it. It looks like a bunch of guys getting dirty and beating each other up. But music is sort of the same way. To really become part of it, you need to know some things. So we talk about all kinds of things that engage whatever age group we're in. We've taken that program to little bitty kids, like 3-year-olds, and we get them to clap and move and things like that. And also to senior citizens, you know, and they do say, I'm still learning things. I'm learning about music that does make it more interesting. And that's actually been my life mission. So I'm kind of tied into this whole thing. Willie set a great example for everybody. He's convinced us all that education is a big part of it, and we need to try to reach the underserved community because they've been neglected, so to speak, in the arts for a long time, and we don't want that to go on. So that's our mission.
And if people want to contribute to this, by the way, their website is just all written out, Gateway gatewayfestivalorchestra.org. Again, gatewayfestivalorchestra.org. And to your point, Debbie, when are you too old not to learn something?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every
Well,
day.
Leon, it sounds like your first two concerts are going to be fabulous. Once again, those are going to be July 10th and July 17th at the Quadrangle on Washington University campus.
That's
Now,
right.
knowing you and your pizzazz and your verve, you are a showman, and I know everybody's just going to thoroughly enjoy those programs. Now, speaking of showmen, there's another one here whom we have not heard a whole lot from so far, and that would be Darwin Aquino. Now, you're taking the other two concerts, which are going to be at the 560 building on the 24th and 31st of July. Would you give us a rundown of your programs?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Kathy, for having us today in this wonderful conversation about the Gateway Festival Orchestra. We are so proud and so thrilled to have our 2022 season, as Debbie was mentioning, back at WashU in the Quadrangle with Maestro Lawton for the two first concerts. And it will be my pleasure to close the season with the last two concerts at the 560. And there we have air conditioning, wonderful acoustics, and a very intimate atmosphere for a very special programming that we have prepared for all audiences. I want to say that I always enjoy my time with the Gateway Festival Orchestra. I've been their music director since 2019, so already 4 years. Time flies. Seems like yesterday that I started, that we did the first concert actually at the 560, that we had our entire season in 2019 there. And then something called COVID-19 that maybe you have heard of. And now we are happy to be fully back at WashU with our regular season. So for concert 3, July 24th, we have a very special musical journey. And the title of the concert is From Hummel to Hamilton. And when I was preparing the program, I was thrilled by those two composers that start their last name with an H. And I thought, come on, this is a beautiful connection, kind of poetic and musical in a way, the title From Hummel to Hamilton. And we all know how popular is the music of Hamilton nowadays. And actually the orchestra will close this concert with a suite from Hamilton, from the musical, that nowadays everyone is enjoying in Broadway, in different scenarios, has been here in St. Louis. The last time I think it was at OMSL, at the Two Hill Performing Arts Center, the full Hamilton musical. And from Lin-Manuel Miranda, that very famous composer that we have now, he also wrote the music for Encanto, the animated motion picture, and also Coco is one of his very famous compositions. So in that suite, we will have the main themes of that wonderful musical, like You'll Be Back, Helpless, Dear Theodosia, Is Quiet Uptown, and everyone that is a fan of Hamilton will know what we are talking about. And we will also complete that program with romantic music that everyone is very familiar to, the Romeo and Juliet fantasy by Tchaikovsky. We don't even have to talk about it. It's a favorite of all times, and the Gateway Festival Orchestra is such a powerful orchestra, and I'm sure that the sound that we are going to gather at 560 is going to be really incredible with that piece. In that concert, now going back to Hummel, because we know more about Hamilton, Hummel was an Austrian composer. His full name, Johann Nemobuk Hummel, and not so well known maybe because it was a trumpet player. And he composed music especially for the trumpet. And for this concert, we will have Mary Weber, that in St. Louis is, well, I see Leon and everyone doing this, thumbs up, thumbs up. Is an excellent trumpet player. She plays in St. Louis with the most important orchestras, including the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, the St. Louis Philharmonic. She has played also at Gateway Festival Orchestra, and she will be the soloist for the trumpet concerto in E major. by Johann Nepomuk Hummel. And we have a special treat because she will play this concerto in the original key, which is E major. Usually it's played in another key, E flat major, but she has the instrument to make it possible because Hummel was a composer that transitioned the trumpet from the natural trumpet to the chromatic trumpet that we have nowadays. So that's why this concerto has a very special place in history. And we are so delighted that we have Mary to perform it with us. And the final piece of this concert is the Overture to La Forza del Destino. Actually, it's the first piece of the concert. I went kind of backwards in the explanation of the concert. And as an opera conductor, I'm always including opera music. And we all know Verdi's Forza del Destino and how special is this overture. Also in this concert, so I don't forget, we will have a surprise. I don't want to talk about it too much because then we will ruin the surprise.
Yeah, we want to keep it a surprise.
Yeah, we want to keep it a secret. I just in a few seconds want to say that Gateway Festival Orchestra is very proud of its percussion section. And actually, in other seasons, we have had musicians from our percussion section play some pieces for our audiences. And something of that will be happening in this concert, especially dedicated to American music. So everyone that will be going to this concert will have that special treat by our percussion section. And I'm not going to say anything else about it.
Okay, well, we won't force you, but everybody will be in for a good surprise on that concert.
Yes, and next concert at the 560 as well is July 31st. And in this one, we will have three very talented young artists connecting with the conversation you were having with Debbie and Leon about how important is education for the Gateway Festival Orchestra, how important is for us to connect with our community and with young artists, with young musicians to help them develop their career. I believe is maybe our most important mission or one of our most important missions. And here we will have all together in one concert, which is so nice when you have this energy of the youth performing accompanied by a symphony orchestra. We will have three of them. The first one is an assistant conductor. We also believe that we need to give opportunities to young conductors to be in front of an orchestra and develop their talents. And Maestro Leon knows this as well. You only really learn how to conduct with the experience of having an ensemble in front of you. Of course, you can take classes, you have your degrees, and it's something that you study, but conducting is so practical. It's something that you really develop in there. And TJ Abernathy, a very talented horn player, conductor, and composer from St. Louis, has been selected to be our assistant conductor for season 2022. We started that program, the assistant conductor young artist program, in 2019 when I was engaged as music director of the orchestra. I'm so happy that the orchestra keeps supporting us in having assistant conductors. And he will be showing his talents in front of the orchestra and in front with all audiences with Dvorak's Slavonic dances, Opus 46, music full of energy, full of joy, full of great spirits. He will be conducting the orchestra in dance number 1 and dance number 4 of that collection of Slavonic dance.
Nice.
Then another young artist will be Fritz Bolini, pianist, not from St. Louis, but from Kansas City, actually. Gateway Festival Orchestra is extending to the Missouri state with the Young Artist Program, and we think that that is great and a wonderful opportunity for him to play with a professional orchestra. He will be playing the third movement, Rondeau, of the Piano Concerto number 1 in C major by Beethoven, another favorite. And as young artist number 3, Christina Goetz, a soprano from St. Louis, and she will be performing Ave Maria for voice and orchestra. and Vaughan Williams, The Call from 5 Mystical Songs. And we have a very special dedication in this concert. That's why the title of this concert is Reforming Destiny. We are dedicating this concert to a very special donor of the orchestra, Phyllis Tiermenstein, that unfortunately left this world some months ago, always a supporter of our ensemble. And Debbie can talk more about it also. And always, she has been very important for our orchestra, and we want to dedicate that intervention of Christina. Nothing more spiritual than the Ave Maria by Schubert and the 5 Mystical Songs by Vaughan Williams, and listening to a young artist, a voice, and an orchestra to remember and to say thank you and to honor the memory of one of our most important donors through the history of the orchestra, Phyllis Tiermenstein.
What a lovely way to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's going to be a very special moment for all of us. I think that the energy of the concert is intended in that way. And closing the concert, we will have a full symphony, Symphony number 5 by Mendelssohn, Reformation, that is also extremely spiritual, so goes with the character of this concert dedicated to the memory of one of our donors. Mendelssohn wrote this symphony to celebrate the 300th anniversary of the Martin Luther Reform. It has 4 movements. It's a symphony that is a transition between the classical symphony and the romantic symphony. It has low brass, going into the symphonies of Burke or Brahms, Tchaikovsky. Still, you can listen to some Mozart or early Beethoven or Schubert. So it's kind of in the middle of the classic and the romantic era. Personally, it's one of my favorites. It has 4 movements that I believe in the acoustic of the 560, it will be a real joy to listen. It opens with the chorale in the strings and the woodwinds and the brass. And the end of the symphony is simply majestic. And it's one of those pieces that after you hear it, you say, what? Oh my God, the world is a better place because we have this symphony by Mendelssohn. So that is our program, our final concert of the season, and inviting everyone that is listening this show to join us for our 4 concerts, 2 concerts outdoors and 2 concerts indoors with the Gateway Festival Orchestra in the entire month of July. Every Sunday you can come and listen to us.
What a wonderful grouping of offerings, too. Debbie, I know that you knew Phyllis personally. Would you like to say something about that dedication?
Yeah, I had met Phyllis at one of our concerts. It was a concert that featured a gospel choir. I hadn't met her before. Somebody else knew her and said, Debbie, come meet Miss Tiermenstein. And she said, oh, I just love this. What you are doing is so important. Because she recognized that we really tried to draw in a large community. She was also, frankly, very religious. With Darwin doing the Reformation Symphony, I think that's important. She was a very good Lutheran. But her spirituality kind of filtered into a lot of areas. And she really cared about St. Louis in general and very much about the arts. She had some visions about how to start raising money for the orchestra, and she shared them with me. I was like, oh, so this is how you do it. I mean, she taught me a lot. I paid attention. And now the orchestra, I mean, we always need donations, don't get me wrong, but it was a whole new realm that we weren't used to. She kind of taught us how you can do some matching funds and things like that. And we will be continuing that tradition because she's left us money in the future for matching fund donations. So
what a very kind thing.
Yes, very kind. And so we are excited that we're doing a special tribute to her because she was really, really a special person. And you don't meet people like that just any day. When I met her, I was really struck that she was a really special person. I'm grateful that she became involved with our organization.
I really want to double what David is saying, because I had the pleasure to meet her in one of our concerts in 2019 at the 560. She came, and it's true what you're saying. A person with such an ability, very humble, and always so interested in everything that was happening with the Gateway Festival Orchestra. I remember it was my first season, and I was practically introducing myself. Hey, I'm the new music director of the orchestra. Did you like our concerts? And she was so tender. She was so sensitive about everything that was happening in our organization. And we are so honored to dedicate this concert in her memory. We are lucky to have had her inside our organization, and we are also lucky that she has given us so much support. I think that it will be a very special moment. That's why we wanted to dedicate a full concert and the last concert of our season to the memory of great people, because we need great people in our life, and there are so many, and we need to honor them. It's important for everyone, I think.
I have a feeling she's going to be there, especially when that lovely, lush sound of the Reformation Symphony is such a glorious piece. I have a feeling she'll probably be hanging out there at the 560 with you.
We will all feel that. Yes.
Such a remarkable thing, too, that the Gateway Festival Orchestra, you don't have to buy tickets. So, yes, you are dependent upon the contributions of those who attend and those who know of you. So I'm going to give your address, not only so people can find out information about the concerts, but also so that they might hit that little donor button. Gateway Festival Orchestra, all written out, gatewayfestivalorchestra.org. We had Leon Burke III, guest conductor, and Darwin Aquino, conductor since 2019.
Yes.
And then, of course, Deberah Haferkamp, who is president of the board of directors. Thank you for your time today, for enlightening our audiences for all these many years. Another jewel in the crown of St. Louis.
Thank you. I think of it as a treasure in St. Louis, too. I really do. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having us, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darwin. Thank you both.